Hey guys, it's me.
First off, who are you?
Oh, don't act like you don't know. It's your girl Emanuela. Welcome back to my channel, Embracing Emanuela. So for today's video, I wanted to share with you guys how I fixed my relationship with food, or I guess changed it, modified, whatever you want to call it. I have a few talking points. If you see me looking down on my phone, it's because I want to remind myself about what I wanted to talk about. So let's get into it. So first I'm going to talk about like how my relationship with food was in the past, like basically when I was younger, like starting from like when I was a child. So when I was younger, I've always been like a little chubby, whatever, overweight, whatever you want to call it, since I was pretty young. So I've never experienced life on like the flip side of like actually being what others would perceive as fit or whatever. I had a huge sugar tooth, so I loved sweets, candy, like cake, brownie, cupcakes, all that, even sugary drinks like juice, soda, things like that, lemonade. So yeah, that was a thing. It wasn't like an extreme sugar tooth. It's not like I was eating that all the time, because obviously I have African parents. They were not having that. I have Nigerian parents, so they was not having me eat all that in one setting. But like when I did have access to those things, I enjoyed it very well. I loved eating sweet things. I've never been picky with food, so I can eat just about anything unless I personally dislike that food. So like if you try to get me to eat anything with avocado in it, I'm probably gonna throw it back in your face. No, I'm just playing. I don't like avocado, and I've never liked avocado really. Maybe it's not the taste, it's the texture. Like it's supposed to be smooth like butter, like people spread it on bread like it's butter. Something about that doesn't sit right with me, so I will not, unless it's like totally ingrained into the dish, I will not eat avocado. Like I don't eat guac, I don't eat avocado toast, I definitely will not be eating a whole avocado with a spoon or any like avocado slices. Don't put that in front of me. But other than that, like besides like the few things I personally dislike, I've never been picky with food. I'm always open to trying new things. I mean, as a Niger girl, like I eat a lot of different kinds of meat, whether it's like goat meat, cow, chicken, fish, lamb, a lot of things. And also like I've definitely tried a lot of different flavors too. Like I love spicy food. I love Indian, Mexican, Italian food, Thai food, Chinese food, Japanese, like a lot of different things. Peruvian food. And I'm always open to trying even more. So like definitely when I want to travel more, I will definitely appreciate the culture by trying the food. Even if I don't like it, at the end of the day, I will try it. But yeah, one of the major issues, well not really an issue, it was more of like philosophy that was really instilled in me from like a young age was don't waste food. That was something that was always a big thing. Like I think a lot of African people can relate to this. Like I think at one point in time your parents have probably told you don't waste food. Like there was a time where like my dad literally, I think he was about to go to work and he had made me something to eat in the morning. It was yam and butter. It was cooked yam and butter. I love yam, but I cannot eat it with butter alone. Like that quite literally is just like the most tasteless food you'll ever have. Like yam with stew, yam with eggs, something like that, that's good. Yam with butter, I don't eat that. Like I can't eat that alone. The flavors are not there, they're non-existent. So he basically told me, sit here at the dining table. I was at the dining room. Sit here and don't get up until you finish your food. Now when he left, me being the mischievous kid I was, I got up, I was watching TV, As soon as I heard him pull up and he was about to come back in the house, I rushed my ass back to the dining table. And I sat there and he basically came and he was like, oh, what? You were sitting at the table all day? And I was like, yeah, I wasn't eating that. So he took it and whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much a lot of the things that a lot of people experience. Like, yeah, you have to sit there and eat your food. Don't waste your food. Like, there's even times where like maybe I threw away like a bowl of rice or whatever, maybe because I didn't finish eating it, or like something was wrong, I didn't want to eat it, and like my grandma or my mom will notice it in the trash can, like, oh, who threw away all this rice? Like, we don't waste food in this house. Like, that's literally how it is. So one of the major issues I had was just not wanting to waste food. So that was always a big thing for me. So like, it kind of manifested into my eating habits. So like, if I was eating something, whether, you know, I really liked it, or I wasn't too fond of it, but I was gonna eat it because that's what I had, I would always try to like see it through basically and eat all of what I was, like all of my portion, like all I had. So it would even get to a point where like I feel like I'm full, but because, and there's like a couple spoons of rice left or whatever, and because I'm like, oh, I can't waste this food, nobody's gonna eat this, nobody's gonna eat after me, so I have to finish it. So like, I'm powering through those last forks of rice, and like, it was a lot. So it wasn't like I was excessively eating or eating a large portion because that's just how I am. It was more so like I had that in the back of my mind, like, oh, I don't want to waste food, because that's what I was taught. And then also I'm thinking like, there's people out there who don't even have food. They can't even, this is the amount of food I have is not food. It's food that they wouldn't even eat in a week. Like, so I'm thinking like, oh, I like, you know, out of respect, I gotta finish my food. Sounds weird, but that's how, like, that was my thought behind it. I also had a lack of discipline or self-control. So let's say if it was like maybe on a Saturday, my dad brought home a box of Dunkin' Donuts or something, a dozen donuts. You know, I would have one, cool. If I noticed that everybody took theirs and there was extra, I would go back, eat another one, maybe go back and eat another one. Obviously, I knew not to do too much, but I was definitely eating more than I needed to. So like, obviously that also plays into the fact that I had a sweet tooth. So like, if it was really things that I really preferred to eat, then I would keep going back until like I really couldn't eat it no more, or it ran out. So that was also like a lack of discipline, you know, eating things in excess that I'm not really supposed to be eating. So like junk food, snacks, all that, the sweet stuff. Yeah. So then now I'm gonna get into pretty much like the negative interactions I had with food. So the obvious, like having like really bad stomach aches after eating a lot of sugar, or eating fast food. So like, even now it's like I don't like eating fast food, because like I've noticed it's like there's basically like a cost benefit to eating that kind of food, right? So the benefit, very temporary. In the moment you're like, yeah, this food smacks, da, da, da. And then there's a huge cost after. The food is just sitting in your stomach. I don't know, I feel like most people have had this experience. After you eat McDonald's, like a burger from McDonald's or whatever, surprise, that food sits in your stomach. I don't even know how it gets digested, because I can, like, for hours I'll just feel the food sitting in my stomach. It's not going nowhere. So I'm like, what is in this food? Like, why is my digestive system going to war with this food and it's losing? Like, why is this food winning against my own system? Like, it's not going anywhere. So eventually when it gets out of my system, I'm like, bro, so like that whole couple hours of discomfort I had was not worth eating that food for like however long I ate it for, 10 minutes, enjoying that food for 10 minutes. It's not worth the hours of discomfort and pain that came after eating that. So yeah, you know, obviously because of all the sugar I was consuming, my blood sugar levels became concerning. So, you know that A1C was going up, you know, and yeah. And it's also an added challenge because a lot of Africans, they eat a lot of starch, like especially West Africans. So like when you're eating those swallows, like fufu, amala, pounded yam, eba, that's a lot of starch. And then rice itself, and like we don't really eat a balanced diet. So like the few vegetables that we use in our cooking, they're obviously like they're overcooked, over fried, so like all the nutrients are gone. So like, let's say if they use collard greens to make something that we call FO, vegetable, I call it, they add palm oil to it, egusi, all that, and that basically, at that point, it's not really a vegetable, it's just like a side to your food. So we don't eat a lot of vegetables, like raw vegetables, right? So yeah, all that stuff, all that starch, the carbs, everything, the sugar was really stacking up. So like when it was getting to a point where I was going to the doctor and they're like, oh yeah, you know, you're pretty much pre-diabetic, we got to get this down. I was like, okay, maybe I need to slow down. Gastrointestinal symptoms, so like, you know, acid reflux, gas, the not so fun stuff like diarrhea, all that stuff, constipation too, like those go hand in hand. Like that is not fun. So like there's been days where like I have to spend the entire day in bed because my body is literally like discombobulated because of like all the stuff going on with my stomach and stuff. But yeah, trigger warning, this might get, you know, a little disgusting for some of you, but I was also vomiting a lot, throwing up a lot. So like what would happen is by the time I was eating, so by the time I realized I was full, I had already eaten way too much. So like now at this point my stomach is way over capacity. Like it literally feels like my stomach about to burst. So like obviously I had to basically expel the food that I eat because my stomach was not going to handle all that. Yeah, and then it ended up in turn, that was a waste of food anyways because I had eaten all this food. Then I ended up throwing it up. So at that point I was like, I could have just skipped a meal at that point, right? And that happened too often for comfort. And I don't want this to get misconstrued because I know what some of you are thinking. Another trigger warning. I don't consider that to be an ED because it wasn't intentional.
What do you mean by that?
I wasn't binging and purging for the purpose of being able to indulge in eating a lot of the food and then purge it to like cancel out the effects. That was not the case. I would get carried away, eat, and because I had a negative, like my stomach, like my body couldn't handle it, it would have to come out on its own. It's not like I was intentionally, you know, vomiting. So let's just clear that. So now the next thing I'm gonna talk about is how body image became a struggle for me. So it's not surprising that obviously someone of my stature would struggle with body image. So basically I was always like, when I would meet somebody new or like someone would see me, I was so conscious of basically how they would perceive how I look, like my body, my weight, all that. So like I'm thinking like the first thing that somebody's gonna notice about me or even think about me when they first meet me is like, damn, this girl's big. She big as fuck, like. So that was like, that obviously affected like my confidence and my self-esteem, and like I, you know, obviously like I became like I basically had to tone down myself because I didn't want to like be perceived as like boisterous and loud, because I know a lot of like black women especially who are on the bigger side, like they're automatically associated with being like loud, very a lot like very gregarious, like have a lot of personality, all that. So I would be like, okay, let me tone it down so like they won't notice all this, you know, like that's how it was for me. Obviously I didn't like what I saw in the mirror. You know, I would look at my stomach, I would look at, you know, how big my boobs were, because I had really big breasts even from a young age. I would look at my butt or lack thereof. I didn't have a butt. I still don't. But yeah, you know, obviously I had a really chubby face. I still kind of do, but I feel like it's coming down a little bit. You know, excessive fat in like my midsection area and my thighs, all that. And let me tell you, them kids in school, they would not let you live down being fat or overweight. Like, you were constantly catching strays all the time, right? I remember this vividly. I remember exactly where it happened. I was in middle school. It was homeroom algebra, bro. I think I was like in 8th grade or something. Actually, scratch that. It wasn't algebra. Actually, yes, it was homeroom algebra, 8th grade. See, you know, it's so crazy. I'm already like mixing up details, but I do remember it was homeroom algebra, 8th grade. Somebody sit next to me. And you know, because the desks were kind of pushed together, so you really had to sit close with your classmates. This person will remain unnamed, but you know who you are. You know who you are. But they basically, I remember I was trying to get into the desk, and let me tell you, those school desks, they're very standard. They're not really big kid friendly. So I was struggling to get into the desk a little bit. I mean, obviously I do fit. It's just that getting into it's hard. Like I have like, you know, wide hips, whatever. So I was trying to get into the desk, and this kid said to me, he was like, oh wait, I remember, he scooched his desk over, and I looked at him and I was like, oh, like, why do you do that? He was like, yeah, you take up too much space.
Oh, damn. I'm sorry.
Tragic. So like I couldn't even say anything to defend myself, because I guess to him that was true, and I guess it was okay. But you know, it wasn't the nicest feeling to have somebody tell you that. I've always been sensitive to any kind of comments. You know, even same middle school, 8th grade science class, you know, I'm catching strays like I always do, right? So somebody called me fat in class, right? I remember one of the girls, she was a girl that was like pretty well liked, right? I remember she literally like said in front of everybody in class, she was like, Emmanuel is not fat. Dead silence after she said that. And then she doubled down. She was like, yeah, she's not. And like nobody dared try to, you know, argue with her about what she said. So what, I feel like that moment kind of like was a pivotal moment for me, because people was not trying me as much, even though like, yeah. But I mean, yeah, body image was also an issue even in high school. Like I was the fat friend in the group, so you know, people, you know, I saw messages that you know wasn't meant for me to see. You know, the boys in our group chat, because it was boys and girls in our group chat, the boys talking about one of the boys talking about oh, who do you think is the ugliest out of all the girls? And you know, my name comes up. Another person responding was like, oh yeah, you know, Emanuela.
No, fuck that! Oh, y'all got me fucked up! Oh, my mama, y'all got me fucked up!
And I saw that, I was like, damn, like, y'all really in my face all day, every day, but this is what you think about me. That, like, and I feel like my ugliness, I don't feel like it was more of like a, like, whatever perception of beauty, whatever. I feel like it had more to do with the fact that I was overweight, and because I didn't have confidence because of that. Because people really pick up on confidence. Like, you could be ugly, and that's subjective, right? But if you feel like, if you carry yourself like you're the baddest girl in the world, people will gravitate towards that. So like, you know, people will accept the fact that you think you're beautiful, even if a lot of people might not agree in another setting. They will consider you beautiful because you have confidence, and that's important. So I didn't have that. So like, you know, when I was around all the other girls in my friend group, I always felt like the ugly duckling, right? I'm the biggest one, you know, I'm one of the darker friends. You know, I even started trying to wear makeup, you know, get my hair done, all that. None of it was working. I didn't know how to do my makeup. My eyelash, like, my eyeliner wings was always crooked. So one was going this way, one was going this way. Like, it was a mess. Like, my foundation, I was wearing foundation, didn't know how to set it. So like, you know, coming off, melting during the day. I was trying all different colors of lipstick. I had no business wearing ColourPop. Y'all remember ColourPop? That was a big thing back in like 2016, 2017. I had no business wearing pink ColourPop matte lipstick, right? But I did, because I was really like, I really wanted people to be like, yeah, like she you know, she got that ish on, like, you know, she looked good. I think by like junior year, senior year, I said F that, I'm not doing this no more, because I'm not waking up an hour before I need to just to do my makeup or try to look pretty, and y'all not even gonna think I'm pretty anyways. What's the point, right? So I think once I really toned that down, and I really was just like, I don't care how I'm perceived. I'm gonna come to school. I completely stopped wearing makeup. Like I had like a sewing in the beginning of the year. By the middle of the year, all of my hair was gone. It was short like this, right? You know, I was playing rugby, all that. You know, I think I really started, you know, my body kind of like started coming together. Like I was always like, I literally just put coconut oil on my face, whatever. And people really started like to compliment me, like, oh my god, like your skin is so good, da 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 da. I love your short hair, your curls are popping, da da da. So it's like, once I like really started focusing inward and not focusing about what a bunch of non-factors were saying about me, you know, it really kind of like helped me be like, yeah, I kind of like, it was like my outer beauty might not have been what you wanted it to be or whatever, what other people would consider to be our beauty, but my inner beauty was really shining through. And that's what I feel like, that's what people to this day really like about me, because I just at this point I don't have energy to care, okay? So if I come into class and I'm wearing Crocs and high water sweatpants and a t-shirt, you're gonna see me how it is. Like, I'm here to learn. I'm not here to impress you. I'm not doing all that. Maybe because I had class tonight, maybe if I want to put on little lashes, I might do that, little lip gloss, but I'm not doing that because I want to look good. I'm doing it because it just makes me feel good. That's a bar.
That's called motherfucking bars, nigga. You know nothing about that.
Okay? Do what you want, because not because it makes you look good, but it makes you feel good, okay? That's a bar. And then also, like, the actual physical effects of that was I had a lot of fatigue and lethargy. I was tired. Like, I would like go up a flight of stairs, and by the last step, I'm like huffing and puffing. I'm like, there's no reason why I'm going up less than 20 steps and I'm fighting like I was just running a marathon. Like, I'm not, there's no reason why that should be a thing. I would go upstairs into my mom's room and she would be like, why are you breathing so hard? You need to work on that. So that was also a thing. So some recent changes that I've made or that I've incorporated into like how I conceptualize food and how I approach food and stuff. I had to basically condition myself to be like less sensitive about wasting food. So like, as I mentioned previously in this video, wasting food was like such a big thing for me, because that was number one, that was always instilled in me from like my parents, family, all that, like my elders basically. And then also I'm just like, you know, I'm blessed with even like just one good warm meal. Like, there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to finish it because other people don't even have food. So yeah, I basically had to wean myself off that, because I was like, at this point, like, because I'm like so worried about not wasting food, I'm overeating, and it's starting to affect my health, obviously. And you know, it's at this point I do end up wasting food because, like I mentioned before, it ends up, you know, coming out because I ate too much. And you know, there was really no point of having to struggle to eat the remainder of my food because I'm already full. So now that also ties into portions. So because I was giving myself larger portions of food, that was why I was basically eating more than I needed to. So portion control became a thing. Like, I feel like it was better to just start off with a small amount. If I'm still hungry after I'm done eating, I can always go back for seconds, just a little bit more, right? Instead of having a big portion to begin with. My cats are acting up, sorry. Instead of having a bigger portion to begin with and then I'm struggling to finish it, or some of it ends up going to waste. So basically, kind of like killing two birds with one stone, solving the problem of overconsumption and then also wasting food was just starting off and just eating a smaller amount so that I am able to finish it without feeling overly full. And that's kind of how I've been doing things now. Leftovers. You can ask anybody in my family, like, for some reason, like if I buy food, order food, or like I have food and I can't finish it, save it for later, or I cook and I don't finish it all at once, I'll have leftovers like in the fridge and I'll never go back to it. Like for some reason, I just don't like eating leftovers unless like it's something really good that I really like. So like, you know, not having like not pressuring myself to go back and eat leftovers because I just, again, with the wasting food. So, you know, I've been more like, oh, like I'll offer people like, oh, do you want the rest of this? Or, you know, if it's in the fridge and somebody asks me, oh, can I eat it? I'm like, sure. If it doesn't end up getting eating and it gets tossed out, not the end of the world. Sharing, because I just touched on that, sharing. So if I know that like, okay, my little brother hasn't eaten or my little sister hasn't eaten, and you know I'm about to prepare myself some food, I'm like, oh yeah, do you want some of this? I'm gonna make something, do you want some? Or if I have a lot of food and I know that I'm probably not gonna finish it, I'll give some to one of my siblings, my younger siblings. I'll give them some. So, you know, and then I've always been someone that likes to share food. Like even my roommate in college, like I would come back from like, you know, the marketplace, like the food market, and I would have like pasta or something, or halal food or something, and I'm like, oh yeah, like do you want some of this? Like we'll be eating it together, right? So like sharing my food has also helped me control how much I'm eating. And it also, you know, I think sharing is caring. So when you're sharing your food, I think that naturally makes you feel happier because you're like, yeah, I get to enjoy my food. It's good food with somebody that I like. And yeah, like that also, like, it makes the experience of eating more fun. Speaking of that, another thing that I've been trying to embrace more is actually savoring my food. So like, you know, I'm sure a lot of college students can relate to this, like because you're like so pressed for time, like you only have about less than an hour, 30 minutes, 45 minutes in between classes. Like you gotta, first of all, you gotta walk to where you can get food, and then you gotta get the food, wait in line. Them lines be long. If you got a Chick-fil-A on campus, you might as well just go somewhere else because you're not gonna get the food in time unless you just don't mind being late to class. But yeah, so then you're like, there's been times where like I have to eat a meal in less than 5 minutes, 10 minutes, so like I'm rushing to eat. And then obviously I've always been someone who tends to eat really quickly. Like in my family, we don't sit around a dinner table and eat together and talk and all that. Everybody just gets their own food and goes about their day and sits down wherever they want to sit down, watch a video, whatever. So, you know, I just, nowadays it's like I'll take more of my time to eat food. Like number one, it helps you savor every bite. So like you're actually, you know, kind of experiencing the flavors, the texture, the taste of food. It does a couple things. So that you're able to analyze the taste of the food and actually enjoy it. Two, that also helps you with like portion control, because when you eat slower, you're able to detect faster, okay, when you're, okay, I'm full now. Like I'm full. This is where I can stop eating, right? That's another thing. And then three, it just teaches you like to actually sit down and enjoy the experience of eating. Because I feel like eating is an experience itself. It's not something that should just be squeezed in between like tasks or meetings, class, whatever. I feel like eating should be experienced, because another thing that can help you, like if you're struggling like mentally or things like that, or you know, you feel like you're not taking care of yourself enough, sitting down and actually eating and enjoying your food. You can put on a show, put on YouTube, whatever, be on Instagram, TikTok, and just sit down and eat and enjoy. I feel like that kind of brings a little bit back of your humanity, and you know, kind of teaches you like just enjoy the little things in life, right? Like I said, portion control, so like only giving myself an amount of food that I can actually finish. Incorporating more fruits vegetables, protein in my diet, and then obviously limiting carbs. So like when I cook, I usually kind of have one of everything, a veggie, a protein, so like chicken, fish, beef, whatever it is, and then a carb, right? So like a starch, maybe like mashed potatoes or something, like roasted potatoes, garlic bread, something like that. And then, you know, if you have room, you can also eat like a cup of fruit on the side. But yeah, it's all about balance, right? So if you're eating too much carbs, too much proteins, too much fruits, because even fruits, it's natural sugar, but they do have a lot of fruits themselves have a lot of sugar in them. They're more natural, not like refined sugar, but it's still a lot of sugar. So obviously, like everyone says, too much of a good thing is a bad thing. So moderation, right? So yeah, it's all about balance, right? So like, you know, obviously, and then carbs are like the thing, like, you know, a lot of, you know, nutritionists and, you know, fitness gurus, they'll tell you like carbs, you definitely have to limit them. And then on days where it's like you work out or you're very active, you can get away with eating more carbs or consuming more food. Days that you're more sedentary, like you're in bed a lot, or you're sitting at a computer working from home, or, you know, online classes, things like that, you might not want to eat as much because you didn't expend that much energy, right? So yeah, balance. My sugar tooth has pretty much, I don't want to say disappeared, because I do still like sweet things. I'm definitely more sensitive to things that are overly sweet. So like if I get a drink and it's way too sweet, like a lemonade, that's way too sweet or something, I'll probably mix it with water. You know, yeah, so like candy, like I used to like candy a lot. You will not catch me buying candy anymore. I just don't buy it. It's not even because I'm putting myself on, you know, don't buy candy. I just naturally don't buy candy. I don't eat it that much anymore. It's like you might catch me eating candy like if I'm going to someone's house and they have a bowl of candy, or I see some candy in like the lobby of somewhere that I'm going to. You know, maybe I'll grab one, maybe two. But, you know, I don't eat it that often. Cake. Nowadays, I don't know what it is, but the quality of cake has gone down. So now cake, like if someone has birthday cake or something and it's dry, maybe after that one fork, I'm not touching it again. If the icing is too sweet, I'm not eating that. If the cake is not moist, I'm not eating it. If the cake is like, if it's a fruit cake, why would you do that? So like, that's already a thing. So like, I don't eat cake nowadays because it's not good quality cake. So like, there's no point in eating it, but that's besides the point. Yeah, I just don't eat a lot of sweet things anymore, and I'm sorry about that. One of my cats is Miss Chica is using the litter box, and she's scratching everywhere trying to clean her paw, so I apologize for that noise. But yeah, last thing is limiting fast food consumption. Like I mentioned before, I personally don't even like fast food anymore, especially like McDonald's. I don't eat Burger King, but McDonald's, Popeyes, once in a while when I eat Wendy's. Like, it's mainly McDonald's because that was like the one place that I used to go to a lot. When I really, like, I remember the last time I had a sandwich from there, like I think it was like a McChicken. I didn't have, like, I normally put like sauce on it, like ranch, because I'm a really big ranch lover. I didn't have sauce this time, so I ate the sandwich by itself, and I just took a bite, and I was chewing it. I was like, this don't taste right. I was like, is this really what a McChicken tastes like? Because I was like, I've been drowning in ranch, mayo, all that. Is this really what it tastes like? I basically spit it out. I couldn't even finish it. That's like, and then also the issue of like the food not going through your system quickly enough, so like it's sitting in your stomach for the entire day after you eat it. No, so like that already turned me off from fast food. And then on top of that, I just don't crave it anymore. So like when I'm like, dang, like I'll be telling someone like, I really want to get food. I don't know where. They're throwing out suggestions. Nope. I don't want Chipotle. I don't want none of that. I love Chipotle, but I'm not craving it that day. So I'm like, damn. And then at the time, like, I'm thinking about buying food. I'm not coming up with a good, you know, appetitive solution. So then I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna eat at home. Then I'll probably just eat some rice or make some noodles. I don't know. But yeah, so like not indulging in fast food that often. So can you wrap it up, Miss Girl? Chica. I'm gonna give her a minute, y'all. Yeah, she just locked eyes with me. She knows that she's being disruptive. Anyways, y'all, I got some tea right here, Earl Grey tea with a little bit of raw honey in it. And this mug says, as I suspected, I was right all along, because I know that's right. But yeah. So now I'm just going to get into like just general advice that I have for others. You can take it with a grain of salt. That's up to you. But I'm going to say it anyways. So number one thing, hone in on your personal health goals, right? And change your eating habits accordingly. So like, obviously people might be having the opposite experience as me. So they want to gain weight, not lose weight, right? So, you know, when you're trying to gain weight, right? Gain muscle, gain, you know, density, you might be, along with like, you know, working out, going to the gym or whatever, you might be eating more protein, more carbs, all that to kind of bulk up. You know, I've seen people like eating spoons of peanut butter because they want to like bulk up. Like, I guess that's, you know, that's y'all. But, yeah. And then also focus on yourself, not others. So this is something I really had to like remind myself constantly, like stop comparing yourself to others. So I'm like, oh, like so, like, you know, so this girl I used to know in high school, you know, she's lost over 100 pounds. She looks so good, you know, all that. Like, she looks amazing. She looks completely different. And this is one girl that I'm thinking about. I don't want to say no names, but she looks amazing. Now, her weight loss journey, I've been tuned into it. It was amazing. It's crazy because me and this girl used to get confused with each other in high school. Like, so her friends would come up to me and be like, oh, so and so, and I'm like, I'll turn around and they're like, oh, sorry, we thought you were our friend, and vice versa. But like, yeah, yeah, so focus on yourself, focus on your own journey. I feel like once you're tunnel vision on yourself, not really worrying about what other people are thinking or what they're doing, like tailor your actions to what you personally, you cannot use somebody else's plan word for word, bar for bar, without tweaking it to match your lifestyle and what your needs and goals are, right? This is important. Come here. Come here. Come here. Listen to this. Food is not the enemy, okay? Food is not the enemy. Do not say, you know, food like, no, food is not the enemy. Overconsumption is. Overeating is really what you need to be focused on, because food is not bad. Food doesn't have to be bad. What you do with food is what the problem is. So food itself is not inherently bad. Overeating or eating completely, like not eating healthy, that's really what the problem is. Now, I know there's been a lot of diets that I've been emerging over the past few years, like the keto diet, paleo, Whole30, things like that. I even came across something like all these body detoxes. Like people have been literally drinking lemonade water mixed with like cayenne pepper. They'll drink that straight for 30 days, no food, no nothing, or just eat like nuts and stuff, and like they're like, oh yeah, I lost weight, da da da. First of all, that is not sustainable. Please don't do that. Don't do any of those. You can try it out for a day, maybe a week, and you'll see yourself that is not sustainable. I tried keto for a week. What I saw online was like, oh, you cannot eat more than 50 grams of carbs in a day, mind you. So I got to a point where I was looking at nutritional labels, I'm looking at the carbs, I'm like, okay, I've already eaten it. Like a single blow pop, the lollipop, right, probably already has more than 50 grams of carbs in it. So that, just think about how much sugar you really cannot consume, or consume more, right? So you have to consume under that for your body to go into ketosis, right? Mind you, it takes 2 to 3 days to go into ketosis, and then, you know, some people do a cheat day once a week, so you're really only in ketosis for 2 days before you cheat and your body resets, right? So my point, the point I'm trying to make is, you can indulge, right? But do that in moderation, right? So if you want to have, like, if you, let's say you got invited to a barbecue, a cookout, or you're at somebody's birthday party, a dinner, I don't think you should limit yourself in what you can eat. I feel like you should be able to take that time to actually enjoy. Now, I'm not saying you should order the whole menu, okay? Do not be ordering the lobster, steak, shrimp, scampi, all of that, scallions. Oh, sorry. Scallops. Yeah, don't be doing all that. Eat in moderation, but eat what you want. And that's something that should not be done all the time. That's something that should be done in moderation. So do not be eating out or indulging in sweets, all that, all the time. The key is you do it in moderation. So if you okay, you can even set up a reward system for yourself. So if you go 4 days straight, no soda, no excessive sweets, all that, maybe one day after that, and you go to the gym too, so maybe one day after that you could have a chill day. I mean, maybe you don't want to go to the gym that day, and then you can eat a little bit of sweets, whatever. Then you go back to, you know, being with it, right? So yeah, do that in moderation. Do not do that all the time. That's the key, right? So everything is about balance. What I really struggled with was my motivation. So like, I recently started going back to the gym after months of not going, and I actually, like, one day just clicked. I just decided to go. Nobody had to tell me. My mom didn't have to, like, hound me to go. I went by myself. I didn't meet up with anybody. So nobody prompted me to do that. I did it myself. So find your motivation. It will really help you stick to a plan. It'll help you stick to what you're doing, what you're working towards, your goals, right? If you have your own motivation, really, there's really nothing that can deter you from your plans, right? If someone's always dragging you to come with them to the gym, if there's one, like, let's say they're out of town, you're probably not going to go to the gym on your own. But when you're like, yeah, I really like going to the gym, maybe you don't like working out, but because working out is producing a certain result for you, like you're getting fit, toned, muscular, you're losing weight, that inherently is going to be a motivation for you to keep going, right? But yeah, also take care of yourself, please. Do not starve yourself. Do not, don't overeat, don't undereat. That's also important. And not just take care of yourself physically, mentally as well, because any kind of weight journey, whether it's losing weight, gaining weight, it can be challenging, can be tough. And when you're not seeing results as fast as you want to, or maybe you're really working at it and you're still not, maybe you haven't found the right combination, the right combo to actually maximize results, that can be very defeating. It can be defeating. You could essentially give up if you feel like you haven't found that right combo that will really get you where you need to be, and you keep going at it and you're not seeing consistent results. You might just give up, and you might lose motivation. You might feel like, I'm putting in all this work and I'm getting nothing out of it, so might as well just, you know, stop. Just keep going at it. Be persistent, be determined, be resilient. So if you hit a setback, like if you lose weight and then you gain some back, don't beat yourself up over it, because, you know, our bodies are constantly changing, hormones, all that. Especially when you get older, you know, sometimes weight gain is inevitable. It's all about how you manage that and how you can slow that down, or, you know, really curve that and then turn it around and lose weight again, you know. But, you know, don't be surprised, don't be alarmed if your weight is up and down, because I feel like that's how naturally, you know, it is. There's a million different things that influence weight. It's not just how you eat, it's not just exercise. There are genetic things that predispose you to a certain weight, whether it's you're smaller, you're bigger. Your mental state can also contribute to that, because if you're not in the best headspace, you might be more likely to do behaviors that are not productive and helpful towards, you know, any kind of weight loss, weight gain journey. So like, just keep all of that in mind, and just be able, I'm not saying you should expect setbacks, but just be able to know how to manage them and handle them when they do arise, because I don't feel like anybody has really had any kind of weight loss or weight gain journey that didn't have its challenges. So just keep that in mind, keep going, and you'll get to where you need to be. So for that, I think that's a great place to stop. I think we've talked about a lot of things in this video. So I will bid you all adieu. Just keep in mind that you're beautiful. You are perfectly imperfect, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Emanuela out.
I don't need no friends. I don't need no friends. I got Benjamins, dead president.